My vegan roommate got arrested for poisoning my meat. When my grandfather passed away, he left me his house, a small 2-bedroom ranch. This happened just as I was graduating from college and was about to move back home, so I moved in right away, incredibly grateful for my circumstances. I had no mortgage, only utilities and property tax. I started working full-time as a manager at my dad's construction company and used the situation to start saving. When my friend Theo got evicted from his apartment, I told him he could move in. He was 23, same age as me, and we'd known each other since the start of high school. He had a steady job, but it was in retail and didn't pay much, so I figured I'd help him out. $50 a week rent and half the utilities. I felt like I was sharing my good fortune and paying it forward, and this way he could save up for a place of his own. He moved in, and for the first few days, everything went fine. We cooked separate meals, watched some TV at night, and basically went about our lives. On the 5th day, I opened the refrigerator looking for the leftover spaghetti and meatballs I'd made the night before. The container was gone. I looked around, and eventually I checked the trash and saw it sitting in there. I found Theo in the living room. "Hey, did you see the leftovers I had in the fridge?" I asked. "Oh," he said, looking up from his phone. "Yeah, I tossed that out." I blinked. "You what?" "I can't share a fridge with meat in it. It's gross. Sorry, I thought you'd understand." "You threw my dinner away because it had meat in it." "I'm vegan," he said flatly. "I can't have dead animals sitting next to my food." This was the first I'd heard of him being vegan. I told him I respected his choice, but I wasn't about to stop eating what I wanted to for him. He argued, "You could at least be considerate." We ended up going back and forth for a while until he agreed not to touch my food. By the end of the next week, a pack of bacon, a carton of eggs, and a tray of chicken thighs I had just bought disappeared. All unopened, all in the trash. I confronted him after work. "Why are you throwing my food away?" "I told you," he answered. "I can't share space with that stuff. It's violent. I feel sick just knowing it's in there." "That's not your call," I told him. "You owe me for what you threw out." He crossed his arms. "I'm not paying you for killing animals." "It's not like I killed them in the backyard and butchered them in the kitchen," I said. "I spent money on that, and you had no right to throw it away." "I have a right to live comfortably," he argued. "Then get your own fridge," I said. "Keep it in your room. Pay the extra electric bill." He shook his head. "I shouldn't have to pay more just to live by my values." "That's not my problem," I said. "If you touch my food again, you're out. You've got a month-to-month agreement. I'll evict you if you keep this up." He stared at me. "You're really choosing this? Over some meat?" "I'm choosing not to get robbed every time I go to the grocery store." He didn't answer, just went to his room and slammed the door. The next couple weeks were tense. He started getting passive-aggressive. I'd make breakfast, eggs and bacon, and he'd walk in, open his laptop at the table, and blast animal rights videos at full volume. Screaming animals, factory footage, people crying. I slammed his laptop shut. "Grow up, man. You want to live in my house, you have to deal with the fact I'm not vegan. If you don't like it, there's the door." Theo snatched his laptop off the table and went off in a huff. One night, after a long day on site, I came home to find Theo sitting at the table. A pack of sausages and a tray of chicken were sitting on the table. "I can't live surrounded by death," he announced. "You need to be more considerate if this is going to work. You're in my house. If you want this to work, it's you who needs to be more considerate. You chose your lifestyle and I chose mine. You're not going to force yours on me." I put my food back in the refrigerator and put leftovers in the microwave. Theo sat at the table as the smell of meatloaf filled the room. He started making exaggerated gagging sounds. That was it for me. I printed out a 30-day eviction notice and handed it to him the next morning. He barely glanced at it. "You're evicting me because I care about animals." "I'm evicting you because you keep throwing away my food," I said. "You've cost me money, and you act like I'm committing a crime because I don't live the same way you do. You've got a month to find somewhere else." He folded the paper slowly. "Some friend you are," he spat, and walked away. After that, the house turned quiet, although, of course, the tension stayed. He didn't play factory farming videos, and my food didn't disappear, but we also didn't watch any TV at all together, and he didn't talk to me unless he absolutely had to. I started to worry that he would take it out on my stuff. Every time I left for work, I wondered what I'd come home to. So I bought a small security camera and set it up in the kitchen. I hid it and didn't tell him about it. For a while, nothing happened. He kept to himself, and I thought maybe we'd coast through the rest of the month without trouble. But one afternoon, about a week before he was due to move out, I got an alert on my phone. I opened it and saw Theo standing at the counter. He was wearing rubber gloves. My pack of raw chicken was out on the cutting board. He had a small box in his hand and sprinkled something from the box onto the chicken. It kind of looked like he was adding seasoning from a spice container, but it made the hair on the back of my neck stand up because I was sure he wasn't cooking. He rubbed the stuff, whatever it was, around the chicken and put it back into the container and into the fridge. I stared at the screen for a long time. I replayed the clip twice. My dad was on site with me that day, and I found him and showed him the footage. He told me to call the police, send them the footage, and not confront Theo myself. So that's what I did. I called the cops, explained the situation and my concerns, and later that day I met the police outside my house. They asked me to stay on the porch while they spoke to Theo. I handed them my key. When they went in, I tried to listen from the door, but they were in the kitchen, and the officer was speaking in too low a voice to make it all out. But I could soon hear Theo loud and clear. "I was just trying to make a point. He keeps filling the house with dead animals. It's disgusting." One officer stayed with Theo, and the other one came to talk to me, carrying the small box I had glimpsed on the video. He showed it to me. It was an ancient, faded cardboard box that was hard to read because the ink had faded, but I could make out the words. Rat poison. Literal rat poison. "We don't know where he got this stuff," the officer said, "because it's been outlawed for decades." "I inherited this house from my grandfather," I said slowly, the dots connecting. "I'm guessing that was in some corner of the basement." I answered his questions about how long we had had this conflict, what had happened up to this point. He had questions about Theo's mental health and whether he had ever committed any violent acts against me in the past. He told me I might need to come down to the station to make a further statement, and they would let me know. Then they cuffed him and read him his rights. He tried to talk the whole time. "You people don't understand. It's murder. I was just trying to show him the truth about meat." After they left, I locked the door and sat down at the kitchen table. The police had taken the chicken, the box, and all the meat in my refrigerator for testing. I threw out everything that was left because I wasn't taking any chances. That evening I went to the grocery store, bought all new groceries, and put in a call to a locksmith. It took a few days for the situation to really sink in. I kept imagining what would have happened if I'd eaten the chicken. It still makes me shudder. Theo has tried to call me from jail, but as soon as I hear the automated voice on the line, I hang up. Now I live alone, and I enjoy my food in peace. Thanks for joining me for this story. If you enjoyed this reading, please hit like and subscribe so you don't miss future uploads. Leave us a comment and let us know what kind of story you'd like to hear next. This is Tales by Rachel, where we breathe life into every story.